How are systems of equations used in real-world problems? Imagine trying to figure out how much money you will make if you sell different types of products, or how a boat travels when going upstream and downstream. Systems of equations are tools that help us solve these kinds of problems. They are used in many areas to find unknown values when multiple things are connected. For example, in business, a system of equations can help determine how many items you need to sell to break even or make a profit. If you know the fixed costs of starting a business and the cost to produce each item, you can set up one equation for total costs. Then, if you know the selling price for each item, you can create another equation for total revenue. Solving these equations together shows you the number of items to sell to reach your goal. In situations involving mixtures, systems help figure out how much of each ingredient to combine. Say you want to mix two types of milk with different butterfat levels to get a certain amount of milk with a specific fat percentage. You can write one equation for the total volume of milk and another for the total butterfat. Solving these equations tells you how much of each milk to mix. Motion problems are another area where systems are useful. If a boat travels downstream and upstream at different speeds due to water currents, you can set up equations for the distances traveled. One equation might representing the downstream trip and another for the upstream trip. Solving the system gives you the boat's speed in still water or the time taken for each trip. In sales, systems can help find out how many hot dogs and sodas were sold if you know the total number of items and the total money collected. You set up one equation for the total items and another for the total money. Solving these equations reveals how many of each item were sold. Engineers also relying on systems of equations to analyze electrical circuits. For example, calculating the current and voltage in different parts of a circuit involves writing multiple equations based on Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's laws. Solving these equations helps engineers understand how the circuit works. To use systems of equations in real life, you start by identifying what you want to find out. Then, you write equations based on the relationships in the problem. Next, you choose a method to solve the system, like graphing, substitution, or elimination. Finally, you interpret the solution in the context of the problem to make sure it makes sense. By breaking complex situations into simple equations, systems of equations make it easier to understand and solve problems involving multiple related quantities. They connect math to everyday life, helping us make decisions and solve practical challenges more easily.